And when you thought it couldn't get any better, it does. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of PIM, Partners in Marriage. I'm one half of the team, John Godbolt.
And I'm Vertel Godbolt.
Hey, guys, and we're so excited about these next two podcasts that we're going to have breaking up in segments. You got to be a part of it. And it's going to be about singles, bridging the gap. It's amazing. We got great guests. And as always, we'd like to remind you, go to our website. We got new materials coming on there, and you get an opportunity to not only look at some things, but if you want some counseling, if you want to get some help in preparing for marriage, or just want to go get there and get some tune-up situations, we can help you with that as well. It's partnersinmarriage.com. Is that right?
That's it.
Partnersinmarriage.com. And that way you can find out what we're about, what we're doing, and how we can help you. And if you want us to do workshops, conference speaking, guess what? She does that as well. I'll help her out. Okay, now let's get started. I'm having fun because I've got two of the sweetest young ladies that I have ever met in our studio with us. As a matter of fact, my wife and I enjoyed them so much that we went on the trip and said we got to take them like they're our own children. You remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
It was
and
great.
We had a ball.
We did, and they were so good with their phones about what do you think we need to do, and they had all the information pulled up. And as a matter of fact, one of our good friends was trying to get us to leave them up there so he can find husbands for them. But we didn't agree with that part.
No.
But who we have in the studio with us today is, first of all, let me explain what we're doing. This is called Bridging the Gap, the Next Generation. We have been talking about how in the world do we help young people not make the mistakes that we made, but how to deal with issues because they do come up.
Yes, because it's a different generation. Mm-hmm. Nothing is like it was. You all know we've been married 51 years, and it will be 52 in June. Mm-hmm. And so can you imagine, we met at Fayetteville State, we became friends and all of that. And we didn't do a lot of stuff. We were just friends. We would go and hang out in the student union. We went to church together.
And Vic's Drive-In.
Vic's Drive-In. We would go and get us, at lunch, we'd go and get us a foot-long hot dog.
All
yes.
Right, that's all right.
And now the building is not even there. But, young people have so many more temptations. Mm-hmm. This is really what it is. Yeah. And doing things. And so definitely we need to meet the needs of you guys. Yeah. And so we don't need to change the message. We need to change the method.
And with
so
that,
you all can help us.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to introduce first she is actually a cousin, but we call her niece, Myra Wilson. Myra is an educator as well. I think she's still at one of our high schools here, E.E. Smith, teaching English, as well as working on her doctorate, and she'll be finished with that this year, 2025, in the middle of the year. So congratulations on that good work,
Yes.
Myra. We're so glad to have you with us.
Happy to be here.
And her co-partner is what I call the other half, Alicia Small, and I'll kind of give you all of the expertises. This girl is not only an educator, she is a music director. She's a singer, psalmist. She's a playwright.
Oh, gosh.
She is a podcaster herself, and she's good at this stuff. As a matter of fact, we're going to let her take over the show.
No, actually, we're not. We're not going to do that.
but great. We call her Lisi on the side. That's your name,
My
right?
Nickname,
My
yes.
nickname, Lisi. So with both of you on board here as we talk, we're going to just kind of flow. And anytime you feel like you want to talk about something that's relative to where you're headed, our goal is to look at things that we know are important. Prioritizing your life, commitments. What does that look like? And so we want to talk about that and spend time in those areas. And if you are talking to someone, by the way, if you are following us, this information, these questions, we wrote them up in such a way that if you don't know what to say about someone to someone when you're dating them, we've given you the questions that you can ask somebody so you can figure out okay, this is just a date and it's over. When I leave here, it's over. Or possibility. So we're going to talk about some of those things today, right? And first of all, commitment. When we talk about commitment, share with us, by definition, your generation, your time, what does commitment mean to you in the context of marriage?
You want me to start? I do.
I would say that commitment to me is it's really simple, probably doing what you say that you're going to do. I think in the context of marriage, that will probably evolve over time based on the season, what's going on. But I think for me, it's doing what you say that you're going to do, even if that thing is beyond your scope of interest. So, for example, I believe that whoever I marry, or even with friends or whomever, we're not always going to be interested in the same thing, but because I'm committed, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, I think we've all probably worked a job we didn't like and things like that, but because I made a commitment to do it, I still show up and do my absolute best. So probably commitment is showing up at my best, even when this thing may not be my complete interest, but I'm interested in this person or in this endeavor. So that would probably be commitment to me, doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree. Just being committed to whatever the cause is, the person, the education, whatever it is, just being committed to that, sticking to it.
Okay. So what are you looking for? What's the most important qualities that you think that person should have? What are you looking for in somebody that's a potential spouse?
In terms of commitment, or you just mean in general?
Yeah, in general and commitment.
Okay, so yeah, I used to be somebody who was very much into physical. Everything had to be physical, like you had to be tall, muscle build, and I still am into that. But I think more importantly now it's about character. It's about just who you are, quick to forgive, kind, just nice, because I'm going to mess up, you're going to mess up. So are you somebody who's going to blow up on me if I do? Or are you somebody that's quick to forgive? Are you kind? Do you talk to me in a respectful manner? So I feel like it's easy to be committed to somebody that is someone who wants to model Christ and be that way. And so I feel like in terms of commitment, that is definitely something that I'm looking for, is somebody who has character.
Before Myra answered, let me slide back. I want to hit Myra with something she said. Mm-hmm. She said, do what you say. Say is a potent word mm-hmm. in the sense of communication. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing? How do you know the person is really saying or will say what they're really thinking? How do you process to make sure that they're going to bring out that, well, what are you saying to me? Or you think they said something. Mm-hmm. How do you do?
You say, I think in that situation, because it's almost like, I'm assuming you're asking, sometimes we hear something that somebody may not be saying. And so I think in that case, you got to give some more details. Let's communicate a little bit more, because I get what you're saying, that sometimes we hear things from a different lens or a different scope just based on our life experiences. But I think that, when you say that you want to be committed, or if we're speaking of marriage like we are, if you're talking about vows, we made some, so do it. That's kind of how I look at that. When we made these vows, we made a decision together to commit to what we said that we were going to do. And so that's even when things are difficult, as they will get, and hard. I want to have that confidence in whoever I'm with, that you're not going to let the commitment fall short because things don't look like how they did, 10 or so years ago. So I think some things can go without saying, but I do understand that if you said that you were going to be present through better or worse, please, because I think that it's my goal to be committed as well. So this is not a one-sided thing. I'm speaking for me as well, that when I say that I'm going to commit, I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do, and I want that reciprocity and that confidence to know that this person would do the same exact thing for me. So I think it's nothing wrong with asking additional questions when maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying. And I understand that sometimes people don't know how to always show up for us the way that we want them to, but I think that, I don't want to go too far ahead, but I think one of the questions you asked was kind of, how do we tell people how to love us or what we need? And I think sometimes over communicating those things
Yeah.
will kind of help people know how to show up for us. Because I think truly when you're meeting someone, they're coming from a background, I'm coming from something different. And
Yeah.
so we're bringing two worlds to collide, but the level of commitment still has to be there. Whether you come here, or I come there, we still need that level of commitment. So I would say over communicating always works, because we're two different people. And so I understand that I can't always assume that someone will know how to take care of me. So sometimes I have to say, this is what I want. And hopefully when I tell you what I want and you ultimately agree, okay, I think I can show up for you in that way, then it's my hope that when you said I will show up for you that way, that you will actually see it through. So that's just...
And I'd like to piggyback on what she was saying too. Like when you say, sometimes you're not going to, somebody is going to say something and you just have to trust. You have to trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And so just over communicating comes in the terms too, where it's just like, you said you were going to do this and you're not showing up for me in this way. And so now I'm feeling this way and I need to communicate the fact that we talked about we were going to do this and now you're not doing it. What's going on? Let me check in. Let me see and make sure everything is okay. So even piggybacking on that, just like trusting that that person's going to say something and actually do what they say they're going to do.
You both said something that comes to my mind. My wife and I have learned this over the years. Men have to kind of be told what you want. They can act and then feel it later, and it worked for us. And now I know how to move in those directions, and then eventually I'm start feeling this. This is great, because she'll say, I can see the happiness in her face. Then I start feeling like, yeah, boy, I did good. So, like you said, over communicate. How do you do that with a guy who's trying to figure out, I didn't have this. I don't know how to be that kind of man.
I don't think over communicating in terms of like being a nagger, like somebody that's always talking, always communicating, but just always, checking in. It doesn't have to be in a negative sense. It just like, the other day, when X, Y, and Z happened, I really didn't feel appreciated or whatever. Just always, not in a nagging way, but just always like, do you have a few minutes that I can talk to you about what happened or whatever? Just checking in constantly and making sure that there's a constant communication, flow of communication, and you're not holding things into your heart and you're, and not sharing it because you're afraid of what the other person's going to feel, like that person's nagging me or that person always has something negative to say. If that is the case, then we're just not going to work, because my thing, for me personally, I am somebody who needs to have that kind of constant communication, and I need you to know me well enough to know that it's not coming from a place of being negative or complaining. It's more so just checking in to see what your mindset was, or maybe I shouldn't have been offended by that, and let me just check in to see, like, is this something that you intended to say, or because this is what I heard and I'm not sure if this is really what you meant. So that's what I would say.